Peace. Let's talk about the first week of March. What's going on with these astrology transits? If you're interested in this type of astrology content and how you can apply what's going on in the cosmos with your everyday life, stick around. Okay, so let's talk about the first week of March. Now, in the last video, which I'll link above, I spoke about Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and that started February 26th. It goes until March 20th, which is spring equinox for the northern hemisphere. If you live in the southern hemisphere of the world, then that is fall equinox. But we also had the pre-shadow period leading up to February 26th, and we have the post-shadow period, which goes from March 21st to April 3rd, thereabout. So now we're going to talk about the first week of March and what you can expect that's taking place, okay? So first, I have my notes handy, so that's what I'm looking down at. So first we have March 2nd, Mars enters Pisces. We have a Pisces party that's taking place right now. It is Pisces season, and we have plenty of energy that's traveling through the constellation known as Pisces. So, like I said, we have the Mercury retrograde in Pisces. What does that mean? And really, how can you apply this to your everyday life? First, pull your chart. I always say you can pull your chart for free online. This is not just looking on an app. You can do that at your leisure to look up what your placements are, but to learn about the house alignment of your chart, you want to either look at an astrology house calculator online. They have those for free, or you want to look at your natal chart online. And I'm speaking about Western astrology. So when you pull your chart online, you will see your chart, most common in a circular format. And the house system that I'm using is the Placidus system. There is the whole house system that is used in modern astrology, and that aligns all of the signs to the houses on a one-to-one basis. But I prefer the Placidus house system. It is an ancient astrology system. It's the default for a lot of websites. And the website that I like to use when I'm pulling natal charts is Astro.com. I know that it can feel overwhelming when you look at it. You see all of the colors and the symbols and the lines in the middle. But stick with me because I'm going to explain it all to you in due time. Okay. And also check out my playlist on my channel because I do have some older videos where I break down the different placements. I break down the different chart patterns. I break down what it looks like and the hemispheres and the quadrants and all of that. I'll revisit some of that content really soon. So we have, like I said, this Pisces party that's taking place. When you pull your chart, you want to look at where Pisces, what house starts in Pisces. So with the Placidus house system, you may have multiple, two, maybe even three houses that have some portion of that house in the sign of Pisces. You want to look at the start of the houses. Now, if you're looking at your chart as if it were a clock, an old school clock, and you look at what would be considered the 9 o'clock point of the clock, that's where your ascendant, aka rising point, is of your chart. And that is the cusp or the beginning of the first house. Then, if you are looking, so on Astro.com, and I'm putting up an example so you can see, on Astro.com, you can see the numbers for the houses in the middle, near the middle of that chart. And if you observe the numbers of the houses, they are running counterclockwise. That is how you read your natal chart. So, like I said, the cusp or beginning of the first house is your ascendant, aka rising point. That is the 9 o'clock point. And then you would go around counterclockwise as if it were a clock. You're going the opposite of the way the clock goes, counterclockwise. And that's how you're counting from house to house. So the lines for the houses, like spokes of a wheel, the beginning of each house, you're reaching that way. And so you're looking to see what zodiac sign the beginning or cusp of each house is. Now, when you're looking at the beginning or cusp of each house, you're looking to see which one of those houses is starting in Pisces. So, like I said, depending on how it all shakes out in your chart, you may have two, you may have three houses that have a portion of Pisces in them, but you're looking at the beginning of the house and to see which house starts in Pisces. Now, you may have two houses that start in Pisces. So then we're talking about two areas of your life. It's more common to have one, but you may have two. So you're looking at the beginning of the house to see which ones start in Pisces. And that's the area of your life affected by this Pisces party that's taking place. The Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Mars entering Pisces on March 2nd. The sun is in Pisces right now because this is Pisces season. So March 2nd, we have Mars entering Pisces. March 3rd, we have a full moon total lunar eclipse. And that's taking place in Virgo, which is the sister sign or the opposing sign to Pisces. So we have this Pisces party taking place, or what's known in astrology as a parade of all of the energy. And then opposing that, we have this full moon total lunar eclipse that's taking place in the sign of Virgo. So it's on the opposite side, which means it's forming an opposition to some of this, at least some of this energy that's currently in Pisces. Okay. Then March 6th, we have Venus entering Aries. And so Aries is the next sign after Pisces. Aries is starting out our zodiac, and we have the spring equinox. And so that's taking place at the beginning of Aries season. So that's later in the month. But March 6th, Venus enters Aries. And then we have some other planetary aspects or relationships between some energy taking place at the same time this first week of March. So March 2nd, while we have Mars entering Pisces, which means it's where our energy flows. Mars in Pisces, that enhances the intuition that we collectively possess. We all possess an ounce of, or I like to say a cup of intuition. It's all about how you enact and how you embody that intuition. It's what you do with the intuition. And if you look at your chart, the signs represent the flavor that you bring to each aspect of your life, aka the houses. Okay, so Mars represents where your energy flows. And remember, or if you have not seen my Mercury retrograde video, you have to keep in mind, because as I was saying, with this first week of March, the energy is ripe for manifestation. But with us being in Mercury retrograde, you want to tread lightly. Okay, so there's a boldness to the manifestation energy. Mars represents some bold energy, but Mars in Pisces, it's some sweet energy. It's truly sweet. We will have Mars in Aries again at some point, and that's more take charge energy. Mars in Pisces is more easygoing energy, but it's heightened intuitive energy. Okay. We have Pluto forming a square with part of fortune, which is where the money resides. So, with Pluto representing transformation, forming that square with part of fortune, that's a conflict resolution of sorts. And it really represents a need for us to really be mindful of some transformation taking place in our finances. Now, like I said, the energy is ripe for manifestation. And also, like I said, with Mercury retrograde taking place during this time frame throughout the first few weeks of March, it's time to plan. It's time to set your intentions for what you desire to manifest, and also to hold off, rein it in. Do not necessarily act on what you desire to manifest. Plan, set intentions, and prepare. And then you'll be able to manifest what you desire when you have the green light to do so. So this is not a red light, it's a yellow light though. Okay. Proceed with caution. Then we have on March 3rd, like I mentioned, that full moon total lunar eclipse in Virgo. That is some emotional energy. It is time to release, but release in a calculated way. Virgo is very intentional. Virgo energy is very detail oriented. Look at where you have Virgo in your chart, and that is the area of your life that you can do a bit of cleanup. We have spring cleaning coming up. This is the time to do a bit of that cleanup effort. It's time to really take an assessment of that area of your life and to be very intentional, very deliberate with what you choose to release, what you choose to take account of, and deliberately decide what no longer serves you and in the most productive way. Virgo energy can bring some hypercritical energy, and because this is a moon, it can bring up some energy. It can be a trigger of sorts, especially with the Mercury retrograde taking place. It's like hovering at the same time as all of this other energy. So you may feel some residual energy from things from the past, but put them into perspective and use this energy, transmute it into something constructive for you. Okay. At the same time that this is taking place with this eclipse, we have the moon forming a square with Black Moon Lilith. Moon, heightened energy, like I said, heightened emotional energy. Black Moon Lilith is representing vices at this time. It's representing it always can represent vices, but sometimes it's that sexy time energy. Sometimes it is Sasha Fierce energy. Sometimes it represents just kind of that dark feminine energy. But with this forming a square with the moon, the intensity of the energy is such that you really want to, like I said, take a beat, assess what you have going on in your life, and to be very intentional and deliberate about what needs to be released, what does not serve you. If you really desire to manifest this great transformation in your life, you have to truly be honest with yourself and assess your life so that you may modify what needs to be modified, so that you can trim the fat, if you will, to really design, to curate the life experience that you desire. Okay. And then finally, we have, at the same time that all of this is happening, of course, we have Jupiter that is in retrograde still in the sign of Cancer. It's forming a trine with the sun in Pisces. And so the sun in Pisces, that's already highly intuitive energy. The trine is this harmonious energy. Jupiter in retrograde is that introspective energy. Jupiter forming that trine with the sun, both in those water signs. Like I said, this is ripe manifestation energy, but tread carefully. Okay? So truly connect with your discernment, truly connect with the heightened intuitive energy that's taking place right now, and manifest accordingly. So plan, prepare, and be ready to manifest the life that you desire. Okay? It has been my pleasure to speak with you today. Be well, be blessed, and have some peace. Ashe.